Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, to subscribe to Primal Scream, and also to click on the little bell icon if you want to be notified whenever I post a new video. Hi everybody, my name is Allison and this is Primal Scream. Welcome to today's topic. Sleep is overrated. So is it really though? I know we all say that. I know I've said it before, sleep is overrated, or I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? But something that I found out recently, especially for women of a certain age, is that sleep is more important than you think it is. So experts say that when people get enough sleep, when they get the sleep that they need, they will feel better and they will also increase their chances of living healthier and more productive lives. So just to kind of give you some stats on that, I'm going to read this. According to Harvard Medical, 70% of adults experience problems that affect sleep quality. 70%. That's a lot of people not getting enough sleep. In adult women, menopause can cause interruption of sleep due to hot flashes. So I know I went through a phase of having some hot flashes. I'm not having nearly as many now, but I did go through a phase where I was, and yes, it did affect my sleep, especially going to sleep. I would be in bed, just relaxing and starting to drift off, and I would get a hot flash, and I would have to throw the covers back for a few minutes and let everything cool down. And then I was pretty good for the rest of the night. That was my typical experience. So those of us of our certain age as well may experience sleep problems due to stress or worry. Do we worry, ladies? Do we worry about our spouses, our partners, our children, our grandchildren, our parents if they're still living? Do we worry? Are we stressed out between work and family and the different social obligations that want to vie for our attention as well? Do we stress? Are we stressed over the whole COVID situation and how 14 days has turned into 2 years? Are we stressed about that? Could that maybe be affecting our sleep too? Let's see what else. Oh, our finances. Yes, finances. I think a lot of us lose sleep over our finances, especially right now. Today is January 24th, 2022. We have major inflation going on. Gas prices are through the roof. Groceries are through the roof. And so for those of us who do the grocery shopping for our families, I know I'm noticing it, and it has really hit my pocketbook. I try to get a lot of my staples at Aldi now, and I only get things at my, what I call the upper scale grocery store, Publix, for our area, for things that I just cannot get at Aldi. In some cases, there's a couple of fresh things I prefer to get from Publix, but I tend to get the bulk of my groceries from Aldi. So there's that. So finances, worry, stress, what else? Our health. Oh yes, our health. Everybody's stressed. We talked about this already. COVID, we're stressing about that. But just health in general, like, our overall health. Are we eating healthy? Are we going to have the same health issues our parents had? Are we going to not have those issues? Are we getting enough activity? All the things that, go with our health. What does our lab work look like, right? How many of us are going to the doctor regularly? I know I'm not. I need to get established with a primary care because I haven't seen mine in several years, and I don't think he's on my insurance anymore. So, yep, I need to do that too. So, what does that cholesterol look like? What does our blood pressure look like? What are our iron and our vitamin B, our B12, especially? B12 is a big thing for women as we age. Are we getting enough vitamin B12? I take a B complex every day, hoping to help with that, to try to get more energy. I don't know about you guys, but I have an energy issue, but that could also be related to sleep a little bit. We're talking about sleep and getting enough. I do best with 6 to 7 hours sleep, but up until recently, I was getting maybe 5 to 6, and that was my own fault. We'll talk about that a little bit in just a little while. So what else? Stress effects, we talked about that. There was a study found in Maturitis, which is an international multidisciplinary peer-reviewed scientific journal of midlife health and beyond. That's a mouthful. So in that study, they found that there's a high level of sleep disturbance in middle-aged women and is associated with worse mood, higher blood pressure, and higher waist to hip ratios. Now, if you know anything about waist to hip ratio, that's a lot of what fitness people look at. So they look at BMI and overall weight as well, but they also look at your waist to hip ratio. And there's a specific ratio that if you're over that, and I don't have that off the top of my head. If I find it, I will, when I'm putting this together, I'll put it up on the screen, what the ideal waist to hip ratio range is to be considered healthy and not being overweight.
So obviously I found the information on waist to hip ratio. Your waist to hip ratio compares your waist size to your hip size. It's different from body mass index or BMI, which compares your weight to your height. According to WebMD, your waist to hip ratio might give you a better picture of your health than your weight or your BMI. So how do you get a waist to hip ratio is you divide your waist measurement by your hip measurement. If the number that comes out is 0.85 or more for women, that's considered obese. If the number is 0.90 for men, that is considered obese.
So let's look at some of the health problems that are related to lack of sleep, because sleep's overrated, right? Okay, first and foremost, obesity. There is truly an obesity epidemic in this country. There are a lot of factors that play into it, but sleep and obesity are also linked. There was a study in the Archives of Internal Medicine. It found that people who sleep less than 6 hours per night on a regular basis are much more likely to have excess body weight. So if you're not sleeping 6 hours or more every night on a regular basis, then you are going to be more prone to having excess body weight. People who slept an average of 8 hours or more had the lowest relative body fat in the study. So sleeping 8 hours or more, being a slug, is actually better for your weight than getting less sleep. Who'd have thought? All right, so obesity. So first and foremost, obesity. What else is related to sleep or lack thereof? Diabetes. That was a surprise for me. Diabetes. 2 studies in the Archives of Internal Medicine. One showed, or both of them together showed that people who sleep less than 5 hours per night regularly have a greatly increased risk of having or developing type 2 diabetes. That one scared me because I've not been getting that much sleep. 5 to 6 hours, as I said, most of the time, but there are times I was getting less than 5. I get caught up on YouTube videos, imagine that, and I go down a rabbit hole and I start watching things, videos back to back to back, and then before I know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I got to get up at 6:30 to go to work. So yeah, I don't want type 2 diabetes. Sleep is just one factor. We'll talk about other factors in other videos, but sleep is definitely a factor. All right, so just tuck that in the back. So there was another study in Diabetes Care Journal that said improved sleep can positively affect blood sugar control and reduce the effects of type 2 diabetes. So that's the other end of the other side of the coin. So on the one hand, if you're getting less than 5 hours of sleep per night, then you have a greatly increased risk of developing or having type 2 diabetes. On the other side of the coin, if you improve your sleep, both your length and your quality, it can positively affect your blood sugar control and reduce the effects of type 2 diabetes. Yeah, that was one that kind of was an eye-opener for me. All right, so we talked about obesity and diabetes, both related to, associated with lack of sleep or lack of good sleep, quality sleep. Number 3, sorry about the Band-Aids. Don't cut potatoes too fast when you're trying to make dinner. Heart disease. Number 3 is heart disease is connected to lack of sleep. There's a study in the Journal of American Medical Association that says even modestly reduced sleep, as in 6 to 7 hours per night, is associated with a greatly increased risk of coronary artery calcification, which is a predictor of future heart attack and death due to heart disease. So calcification is what it sounds like. It's basically clogging of the arteries. So if you're getting even a modestly reduced sleep, 6 to 7 hours a night, which is me, this is associated with a greatly increased risk of coronary artery calcification, a predictor of future heart attack and death due to heart disease. My father died with heart problems. Some of it was congenital, some of it was diet and lifestyle. But my dad died because of his heart. I inherited a little bit of the congenital stuff that he had. He had an aortic valve issue from birth. I did not. I only have the mitral valve, which he also had a little bit of that too. So yeah, there's heart disease all over both sides of my family. So me not getting an optimal amount of sleep, 7 hours or better, is potentially adding to my future risk of death due to heart disease. Kind of scary. All right, obesity, diabetes, heart disease. Number 4, immune function. What's one thing that we are all dealing with right now that has to do with immunity? COVID-19, whatever variant we're on this week, right? So there was a study in the Frontiers of Bioscience, another journal. Now, all the studies I am citing here are from journals that are peer reviewed, all of them. I check all of the articles and studies out before I ever will source anything. So, and all of them will be in the description of the video. So if you want to look them up yourself, but just know that they are all peer reviewed, which means they're the highest quality. Doesn't mean that they're always accurate, but they are the highest quality. They were done properly under the right protocols, and peers reviewed that to say, yes, they were done correctly before they were published. So the study in the Frontiers of Bioscience journal says that sleep deprivation increases inflammatory mediators and may therefore decrease the ability to fight infection. Let me read that again. Sleep deprivation, not getting enough sleep, increases inflammatory mediators, inflammation. There's another video I did early on this channel. I don't have that many. I think I just have 1, maybe 2. That's changing now. But so inflammation is huge in our bodies. Again, related to obesity, heart disease, diabetes, all of the big things, right? So sleep deprivation increases inflammatory mediators and may therefore decrease the ability to fight infection. So getting enough sleep, or getting optimal sleep and good quality sleep, boosts our immune system and helps us fight off diseases like, oh, I don't know, maybe the coronavirus. Food for thought, right? So obesity, diabetes, heart disease, immunity, right? Our immune function. Number 5, common cold. Now, we just talked about this because common cold has to do with immunity. It is a virus, right? A study in the Archives of Internal Medicine found that people who average 7 hours of sleep or less per night are about 3 times more likely to develop a cold than those who got 8 hours or more. Okay. In addition, those who had better quality of sleep were least likely to catch a cold. So not just the length, but also the quality of your sleep. 2 factors there. If you have better quality sleep, good length, good quality, you are least likely to get a cold. Cold, did you know the common cold is also a type of coronavirus? Corona just means crown. So it's a crown type virus. So coronavirus, common cold is a coronavirus. Sleeping and getting enough sleep and quality sleep helps us resist the cold virus. And I would say probably helps us resist the coronavirus too. So we've talked about obesity, diabetes, heart disease, immune function, the common cold. Last but not least, we're going to talk about mortality risk, and that just means your risk of dying in general. The National Academy's Press Board on Health Sciences conducted an analysis of data from 3 studies that suggested sleeping 5 or less hours per night may increase mortality risk as much as 15%. Getting 5 or less hours of sleep per night increases your risk of dying, could increase your risk of dying as much as 15%. Okay, yeah, we're all gonna die someday, but I don't want to die before my time because I'm not getting enough sleep, right? Okay, so let's talk about some effects of not getting enough sleep besides the health stuff. We have cognitive effects, irritability, daytime sleepiness. How many of you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, especially if you're working and you're in, at your job, especially in an office, at 3 o'clock you hit that wall and you're sleepy, right? Slowed reaction time. Not good if you're driving, not good if you're in a situation where you need to defend yourself. Yeah. Slowed reaction time. Reduced focus and concentration. Now listen, ladies, we have enough of a problem with that, with our hormones changing everywhere, right? As we get older, then we don't need to help it by not getting enough sleep. So if you want to, help your focus and your concentration, get better sleep, get more sleep, and get better quality sleep. Problems with memory and attention. Boy, have I found that lately. Not the attention thing so much, but the memory thing. Things that I used to be able to carry like 8 to 10 things in my head like all the time. I cannot do that anymore. I don't multitask nearly as well as I used to. Part of it's age, I'm sure. Part of it's hormonal stuff that goes with age, but I'm thinking sleep might help with that. I'm thinking some other changes lifestyle wise too, but those are for other videos. But yeah. And last but certainly not least, symptoms of anxiety and depression. So listen, ladies, most of us suffer from at least minor anxiety and or depression, most of us. So getting extra sleep, getting better sleep, longer sleep, better quality sleep might help with that. It's worth it to me to try. I hope it is for you too. So here's some other reasons. If none of that gets you thinking about why you should sleep longer and get better quality sleep, here's some other reasons why you should get more sleep. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. Tissue repair, muscle growth, protein synthesis, all of this happens exclusively while you're sleeping. Muscle growth, tissue repair, right? Protein synthesis. Protein synthesis just means your body making proteins to use to heal and repair things in your body. It only happens at night when you're sleeping. Well, not at night. It happens when most of us are sleeping at night. Okay. Lack of sleep may influence hormone levels that are involved in metabolism. Did we not talk about obesity and being overweight, right? So lack of sleep may influence the hormone levels that affect your metabolism, your appetite regulation, and stress response. Appetite regulation, stress response, and metabolism, all related to not getting enough sleep. Sleeping helps to lock memories into your brain and helps your brain regulate emotions. How many of you feel like you are more emotional lately with everything that's going on, right? So if you're not getting enough sleep, maybe that's part of why. I know I've been more emotional than I'd like to admit. Some of it is hormonal and menopausal stuff. I know this. Not all of it is, though, I don't think. So that's another thing to consider. So how much sleep should we get? So based on all of these studies and all the information here, and again, I'm going to have all the sources linked in the description below. If you put it all together, at least 7 hours per night is the best way to go. At least 7 hours per night. And definitely not less than 5. Are you going to be able to go from getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night to getting 8? No, you're not. But you can make some subtle changes and increase over time. We'll talk about that in a minute. So here's some things that can help you get better sleep. Have a schedule and a routine and stick to it every day, including the weekends. I am so horribly guilty of this. I have a great routine during the week in that I get up at the same time every day to go to work, etc. I make dinner basically the same time every night. We didn't settle down and, we're kind of watching TV or reading a book or whatever we're doing in the evening by a certain time, but I don't go to bed at a decent hour. I've changed some of that a little bit. I'm going to talk about that a little at the end, but so just understand having that routine, especially on the weekends, is a good thing. On the weekends, we sleep in a little. We don't go to bed as early. We do the things that most people do on the weekends, right? All right. Getting enough natural light, especially earlier in the day. That is really hard to do for some people in the wintertime, especially because we just don't have as much light. But try to get some light, some natural light early in the day, if at all possible. Try to get some natural light. Avoid artificial light, especially within a few hours of your bedtime. So that's a hard one. I would say hours is a hard one for sure, but definitely try to avoid natural light, artificial light, like fluorescent lights, particularly, when you're trying to get settled down for the evening. I know that when we settle down, we have the TV on usually, and we have one light on in the living room. That's typically what we have on, and it's just a little stand-up lamp, kind of like the one behind me here. So we don't have a lot of light, but that one I'm trying to figure out like how to make that work. Another thing about artificial light, they're saying to use a blue light filter on your computer or your smartphone, especially in the evening. That's a hard one, unless you have something built into your phone already, right? Okay, here's another one. Exercise 20 to 30 minutes per day, but not close to bedtime, because that's going to make your adrenaline and your endorphins and all that go off, right? So try to get 20 to 30 minutes of exercise sometime in the day. We'll have more videos on specifically getting more active and how to work that into your day, your schedule, your busy schedule like mine, but that's not today's video. But just know that getting enough exercise every day can affect your sleep. I think we know that. I know my mom talks about if she can get out in her yard and garden and, pull weeds and do all the stuff she likes to do out in her yard, she sleeps much better on any given night that she's been in the yard working. So physical activity helps us sleep. Don't drink or eat anything within a few hours of bedtime. That is a hard one for me. I don't know that I'll ever be able to do that, but I can minimize it. And I have done a little bit of that. Again, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And when it comes to drinking or eating anything, avoid alcohol. Believe it or not, alcohol is not a good thing to consume to help you sleep. You would think it does, and it does help you go to sleep more immediately in the short term. I know it does me, but it's not good quality sleep. That's the issue with alcohol. So avoid alcohol, caffeine. I think that speaks for itself. Nicotine, I know, hard for you smokers and vapors out there, but nicotine is another one you should avoid within a few hours before you go to bed. And foods that are high in fat or sugar in particular. And I'm laughing at myself because one of my favorite things to do in the evening is have a handful of dark chocolate M&Ms. Just a little bit of fat and sugar in those, right? A lot of us like to eat something sweet before bedtime or after dinner. So my advice is just try to do it as soon after dinner as possible. I don't know that you're ever going to, like, if you already have a habit of having cake at 8 o'clock before you go to bed or milk and cookies, that's going to be a hard thing to break. So I'm not sitting here judging or telling you to do it. I'm just saying this is what's recommended. Relax before bed by taking a warm bath. Wouldn't that be lovely if we had the time to all of us to do that? Read a book or do some reading of some kind, or do something else you find relaxing. I do like to read. I also like to do jigsaw puzzles. I also like to sometimes play games on my phone. Now, one of the things they tell you is to not have your phone with you, but for me, it's don't go on social media. I try not to go on social media for 30 minutes or more before I go to bed. I try not to. I will answer a text especially from family members. I will play a game on there. I'll do things like that. But yeah, so do something you find relaxing closer to bedtime. Keep your sleeping area cool, dark, and quiet. Now, here's another one I'm going to disagree with. I do not sleep well in the cool. Now, the room can be cool, but I have to be toasty warm to sleep. I cannot sleep if I'm cool at all. Bizarre, I know. Maybe that's because I'm a Florida native and I just can't do it. I can't sleep cold. I can't even sleep like a little cool. I have to be warm. If you can't sleep, don't lie in bed awake. Read or listen to music or do something else you find relaxing until you feel tired. I've been known to do that till I pick up a book and start reading if I can't go to sleep. And that will usually relax my brain. Or there's a couple of games I play on my phone that as soon as I start doing them, within 5 minutes, my eyes are starting to close. So I know I can use those too. We're going to talk about one more thing before I go to what I have done as far as making changes. Insomnia. Insomnia is a whole different thing. If you really cannot sleep, and we're talking for hours on end, you're getting 1 or 2 hours, maybe total for a whole night, several days in a row, you're really truly sleep deprived, then you need to seek medical help. Insomnia is a whole different thing. There's a lot more that goes on with insomnia. It's very complicated. I am not a medical person. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to fix your insomnia. That requires medical attention. I'm a health educator, but I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nurse practitioner. So again, insomnia, please seek help. All right, so here's what I did. I knew my sleep habits were not good. And I'm not going to tell you I've been perfect at this, but I have tried to make a change. And just as an aside, I think I'm probably going to do a video on just this, a short one. But when it comes to making changes in your life, rather than doing that January 1st, I'm going to make all these changes at the same time. It's best if you change one thing at a time, like just literally change one thing, maybe a week. And that's what I'm doing. So 2 weeks ago, I started trying to change my sleep habits. So I wanted to make sure that we were in bed and that I was relaxed and at least trying to go to sleep by 11:30 every night. which I'm not very good at doing. So I set a timer on my phone for 11 o'clock to remind me, let's start winding down. Let's start turning the lights off, getting the TV off, doing whatever night routine we need to do. So by 11:30, we can be in bed. Been much better about it than before. I have gotten a little more sleep the nights I do that. Like I said, it's not perfect by any means, and I'm going to try to back it up a little more, probably in about 2 weeks' time. So in any case, that's my suggestion, is start doing one thing a week to change something about your lifestyle that you want to change. If you want to start drinking more water, then start this week with drinking more water. Set a timer on your phone, find a water drinking app, for example. These smartphones can do just about everything for us, right? So I don't like them telling me what to do unless I program it to tell me what to do. So I do use my calendar. I use apps like MyFitnessPal. I use lots of different things to help me to make the changes I want to make in a gradual manner. Anytime you try to change something all at once and go from one thing to another, going from sleeping 5 hours a night to trying to sleep 8 hours a night, is not going to work. You're going to fail. You're setting yourself up to fail. I don't want to set myself up to fail. I've done it too many times in my life. And then I regain the weight, whatever it is. I'm not happy with how I look. My hair is crap, whatever it is. So make your changes gradually. Choose one thing a week to try to make a change, or one thing every 2 weeks if you need to, and start trying to make that change gradually. And don't try to change it drastically all at once. Make small changes in that. Keep track in a diary if you need to. Keep track on your calendar on your phone. Do something to help you maintain a pattern until it becomes a habit. Habits don't happen overnight. Habits happen because you keep at it and you stick to it. Even when you fail, even on the days that you don't do it, then tomorrow do it again. Tonight, if I don't get us up and get us headed to bed by 11 o'clock, then tomorrow I will. It's all about making small changes and subtle changes over time. So I'm just going to reiterate, sleep is super important. It's way more important than I ever thought it was, not just to feel rested and feel good and all those things, but it truly can affect your health. It can affect how long you live or don't live. It can affect how well you're focusing when you're at work or dealing with your children. It can affect just about every aspect of your life. It can affect the hormones in your body, right? And we're already dealing enough with hormones and changes in our bodies that are due to hormones. Let's not add to that. Let's try to help it. All right, so that's it. That's my talk on sleep. So glad you joined me today. Like I said, all the sources, all the studies and all the resources I used for this video will be in the description below. So help yourself to those resources. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I am a certified health education specialist. And so if you want me to help you dig more deeply into sleep and ways to sleep and ways to sleep better and get better quality sleep, just let me know. I'm happy to help you out. All right, so get some sleep.